Hello, my friends. This is Heather. Welcome to the Friday edition with another amazing human being. And this week is Uche Maple, and such a powerful person, and so interesting her journey to what she does now. And I'm going to let you know, we're talking about how to get clarity and how to commit to yourself and move forward. But if you can stick till the end of this one, she tells such a great story of one thing that really changed her life in a profound way. Let me know what you think. Have a great week. I can't wait to hear from you. Take care. Hi, my friends. Welcome. This is the Back to Me podcast, and this is Heather, and I am super excited that you're here. You are going to hear some tips and some tricks and some ideas to help you live your happiest and healthiest self. I call it Back to Me because when you are taking care of yourself, back to me, then you can take better care of others, and we can all make the world a better place. This is Wellness Your Way, and I am super happy that you're here. Hello, my friends. How are you doing? This is Heather. This is the Back to Me podcast. This is, of course, as you know, one of my favorite days because it is my celebrity chat day. And I have yet another amazing, outstanding human being to come and talk to us today. Today is Uche, right? Uche,
Yes.
Uche Maple. Yay. And we're going to talk about what, Uche? What are we going to talk about? Clarity. We are going to talk about clarity. And I was looking, I always go back and look at the information that you sent me. You have done a lot of stuff in your life, my friend.
I do. I'm loving it.
And what took you, firstly, I'm always curious, what took you into that track of STEM? And I don't know if everybody knows what STEM is even. Let's start with that.
Okay, so first and foremost, STEM stands for Science, Technology, Engineering, and Math. And great question. So my name is Uche Maple. I'm a leadership and business strategist, and I am absolutely elated to be here. So thank you, Heather, for inviting me.
Thank you.
On your amazing podcast. And so I grew up in East Texas, born and raised. And one of the biggest things that what I usually growing up, my mom was a widower. My father passed away at an early age. So the biggest thing, if you can think about for a single mom who had 7 kids,
Whoa.
is transportation, right? One of her biggest things was transportation. But as a result of that, she would always just get anything. So, she'll have a car. My mom will have a car for like a year, and then it'll break down, and then she'll get another one, right? And growing up, I would see how she would get taken advantage of when she would go into shops to get it fixed, and they would provide quotes. So I just saw a lot of that. And my mission at that age was to be able to fix my mom's cars.
Wow.
Yeah, that was my goal, so that she would never get taken advantage of again. And I remember telling my counselor that this is what I'm interested in. And I was always good in math and science. And she was like, you know what, I think you probably should go into engineering. And she recommended her alma mater, Prairie View A&M University. And I was like, okay, if I become a mechanical engineer, I can fix cars. So I can fix her car. So that was the trigger that led me into going into the STEM field, was wanting to be able to fix my mom's car. But here's something that's really cool, was that when I probably maybe 2 years into my career, instead of me fixing her car, I was able to buy her a car.
So even better. Even better. I mean, who wants an old car when you can have a new car? But
Yeah,
it's so interesting, the things that we see when we're kids. I have one of those problem-solving brains too. It's like, I could fix that, but you just have to wait till you get old enough to fix it, right? It's like, how am I going to make sure that this doesn't happen? And how am I going to, your intention was to help your mom, but now you're helping all kinds of people, right?
Yes.
Which is amazing.
Yes.
And so leadership and business strategist,
Mm-hmm.
because now I think you're more than just, where you started. You're doing way more than fixing cars.
Yes, so that is absolutely true. Last year I was able to retire at the age of 44, my claim to fame.
Whoa,
And
nice.
yes, after being in the engineering field for 22 years, I worked for major Fortune 500 companies, and I got to the point where life happens. So me and my husband decided to strategically make a decision where I was going to retire and really where I was able to focus more on my business. So let me be clear. When I was working, I started my side business while I was working. It wasn't that I worked and then quit and started my business. I started the business. And when I started the business, I actually saw a need in terms of really making sure that I understood what it meant to be financially independent, right? So
Yeah.
and it's interesting because another trigger for that, one of the triggers was when my mom turned at the age of 65 or 67, where she was able to get Social Security. She could not receive it because she had not worked enough hours, so she didn't have enough credits.
What? Oh
And
my
yeah,
gosh.
and I said, that is insane to me, right? Because you work 40 years or however many years that she worked. And then that's one of the benefits, right? We hear that all the time, especially in the US, is that, oh, you'll have Social Security. So seeing how that was not true for her made me even more say, all right, while you're working, you're going to use your 9 to 5 income as a way to turn that income into assets, as a way to ensure that you are financially independent. And what that means is that you're not depending on the income you make in your 9 to 5 to pay your bills. You are using the money external of that, right? So that was one of the reasons why I started my business, because I didn't want to be in the same position. I don't know, right? I don't know what can happen 20 years from now. What's going to be the
Right.
story then, right? And I wanted to make sure that I was able to do that. So I like to help others do that as well.
And it's so true that you you're I don't want to say sold, but because it's Canada, we have Canada Pension Plan and we have an old age security. I don't know that you could live on either of them really, but it's true. You don't know what you're going to get till you get to the end, and is it enough? And I heard a quote from Warren Buffett actually just today that um, if you want to ensure your financial security, go out there and have your own business because you can't really depend on your social security to support you. And it's scary when you get later in life and recognize that your biggest earning years are probably behind you.
I know. Ooh, when you say it like that. Yes.
I'm older than you, so I can say that. But it's true. You think you get to a point where you're like, "Holy crap! Now what the hell am I supposed to do?"
That's true.
And it's true that a lot of people, because I mean, I'm like you, I coach a lot of coaches, and a lot of them I don't always use side hustle, but it is a side business to try and ensure their financial security. And maybe they want to exit working for someone else. I mean, trading time for dollars because you only get so much, and making more about what you want to offer to the world, right? Which is super powerful. I love that you're helping people kind of figure out. So, how do you help people figure out what their clarity is to get to that I need something different space?
Well, so what usually happens is I work with clients who are on the cuffs of, I can't do this anymore and I'm ready for a shift, right? So a couple of things that has happened. One, they're not getting paid enough. Two, they don't feel valued at work. Or three, they just don't feel self-worthy. So as a result of that, they may be thinking about an exit strategy, or they may be thinking about how can I position myself to make sure that if I do decide to leave within the next 5 years, I know that I can have a way on how to continue to live the lifestyle that I want. So I usually enroll people in my program. It's called the Business Accelerator Program. It's a 6-month group coaching program. And what we go through is really a shift in the mindset. Because what happens is when we have worked, let me say this, my mom grew up in an environment that was more permission based. You have to have permission to go to the bathroom, you have permission to get off from the table, permission to do a lot of things. And what happens is that when we work for someone, we are still seeking permission, right? Because if you do something that you didn't ask to do, you get reprimanded, and it could potentially impact your performance at the end of the year. And when you are starting your business, you are looking for permission again. So I like to help them deconstruct that so that they are no longer seeking permission, but they know that they are the CEO of their business and they have to act in accordance to that. And we work through that. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was going to say, it is a huge shift from worker, well, because their school system creates workers, right? For the most part. Please, ma'am, may I go to the bathroom? It's like, come on. I actually, this is funny. I was in university and I went to go to the washroom, and the professor stopped me and asked me where I was going. And I just thought, buddy, that's none of your business.
Really?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure I'm a grown up now. I don't have to
Yes.
ask anymore. But that's just a whole side story. But it is very true that it's a different way of thinking. And it's hard for some people to understand that you don't just quit your job and start your business and you're incredibly successful, because there are things you have to learn, and you do have to learn that shift in mindset, and it does take time to build it. There's no overnight successes anywhere. Sorry. I don't care what they say.
Yeah. It
Right.
does take time to build it, and the biggest thing is not to be difficult hard on yourself and to give yourself some grace. Because if you've been working 10 years, 5 years, 20 years for someone, don't expect that shift to happen in 3 months, 4 months, 5 months. And if you think about it, you're trying to do it by yourself. That's something else too, right? Because we understand with community, that's the thing, is that you are in a community. When you get on my campus, the LEAP campus, you're in a community where you're not alone, and you're no longer working alone. So if you're having a moment where you're like, I don't think I can do this, this is difficult, this is hard for me, that's okay. Because if it was easy, everyone could do it, but you just need to stay committed. I look at it as if you can honor thyself, the way that you honor thyself is to commit to what you have for yourself. And when you break that commitment, you're no longer honoring who you are in the essence of who you are. So if you are committed, and if you can honor thyself, really be committed, because it's easy now. We start something, we quit, you start, quit, it's so many distractions. But to truly honor yourself is to stay committed and have discipline and to be intentional with what you want, and you will get there eventually. All you have to do is say yes. So we work through that, and then I work with them through, just really understanding like their business foundation. What does it mean? Getting clarity there, getting
Right.
clarity on what their branding is. What do they want to be known for? Getting clarity of how they're going to market, and getting clarity to make sure they understand the financials, the overall financial, the fundamentals of financials in a business. Oftentimes when we come into entrepreneurship, that's the last thing. And we're wondering, like, wait a minute, all my money is gone.
I
What's
know. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Hold on. What's going on here? So I have to tell you, my first career way back when, I think I'm moving on to career number 3. I was 15 years as a CPA. So I go in looking at the financials first, but because I was doing business coaching for a while in the health wellness space, and that's that they look at the financials last, and they can't understand why they're struggling. I'm like, well, you should know before you go to pay your taxes how much money you made during the day, right? And also to know what, like, even evaluating from a financial perspective, what do you need to live on, and what does that look like for your business, and what do you want your business to make for you? And then get some clarity again. How will your business do that for you? Taking that time in the beginning is so valuable to
well,
set yourself up.
it's transferable skills. When you're working, you calculate how much you need to survive. Let's just be clear. You calculate how much you need to make, the quality of life that you want to live, and that's what you go out for, right? It's not any different than when you have a business. it's, to me, it's the same concept. Now things are going to be different, right? Because you got to calculate the tools and the systems that you want, but it's still the overall process and understanding what your monthly expenses are and all of that. So we go through all of that, and that, they really get, like, again, it's a 6 month program. We understand this, that it doesn't, you need more time to really understand, and that's a whole total another deep dive into the business financial. My job is to at least give you the fundamental understanding of what you need to be looking for, how to start it, how to understand the numbers, to ensure that you have a solid foundation, so that when you're going to the next level, you at least have the basis of what you need.
Right. And I mean that it is true. It is the same thing. I guess the difference people can't have trouble wrapping their head around is it doesn't come in every 2 weeks or however often your paycheck comes in. It just doesn't plop in there automatically. It takes a little extra work to get that revenue rolling.
It is easy to work for someone.
It is so easy.
And I would never have said this if I had not started my business a couple of years ago. But it is easy to work for somebody or some organization, because you're right, it's constant. You're going to get that check. You know that what's happening now, Heather? Like quietly quitting, right?
Oh yeah. Until the mortgage payment comes. Right? It's like, true. Oh shoot, I still got bills.
So yeah, but if you're quietly quitting and you're still working, I laughed. I was like, I work with people who just did the minimum. This is nothing new. Why are we making this into a thing? this we've seen this. But anyway. But yeah, so it's really the same transferable skills that they need to look at. And you're right. When we talk about branding, I'm like, how did you brand yourself in the workplace? How did you market yourself in the workplace? Yeah. How did you become the expert? You're using the same skills. It's just that you're using it now for you.
Right. Which is a big shift for some people. They don't feel comfortable standing up and saying, hey, I'm pretty awesome. And this is my business. So for some people, it's that shift is hard. And it's so true. Entrepreneurs, especially because a lot of us are solopreneurs, it can be pretty much crickets out there and feeling lonely if you don't have a support group around you, right? So I love the fact that there's a community. What did you call your community?
The LEAP, LEAP.
Yahoo! I just feel like Yahoo when I hear that word. Right. The leap. So it's like finding your tribe was what that was 2020, 2019. People were all finding their tribe, but finding your community that supports you and helps you up when you're feeling down and can see how far you've come when you can't see the progress you've made, right?
That is so true. They're reinforcing, and they're helping remove some of the limiting beliefs that we have. So that reinforcement and that team, that's why I look at it, like, so because I was in sports, so I had a coach. I ran track, had a coach, and I was pretty awesome. Right?
You go, girl.
And my coach, her responsibility was to package and take this awesomeness to be better. She was like, you already got the skills and the talents, right? Now we're going to make it a strength where you are better than your competitor. And that's what a coach does. And she walked with me hand in hand. Now, here's the key. It's my choice to listen.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Right? Because the coach can give you everything you need, but the coach cannot make you do what they are saying that needs to happen. That is up on you. And I think a lot of times, and you let me know, Heather, because you're a coach, is that people will put their success on the coach.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Instead of taking ownership of the success for themselves.
And it's almost like similar to the employee roles. Like they just replace their boss with you. So you're supposed to tell them what to do.
Yeah.
I can help you out with that, but yeah, no, I'm not gonna be standing over you saying, "Where's my report? Where's that
Oh, and
email?"
that's you just leading back where that shift comes in at, where it's no longer permission based, it's no longer employee. You're really entrepreneur CEO, and you get to decide how successful you want it to be based on what you are really to change about how you operate. So that's good. I like that. I like that analogy.
Yeah,
I'm
and
gonna
that's
take it. I'm gonna
you.
take it, Heather.
It's yours. Run with it. No problem. It's true. It's because I even find myself sometimes I have to remind myself, oh, wait, I'm the boss. I can do whatever I want. I can make this whatever I want. And there's an author I read, I get her emails. I got an email from her the other day that said, there's no pricing police. No one's going to come and tell you, you can't charge that. That's not allowed. It's your business. You decide everything, which is incredibly freeing and incredibly frightening, right? There's two sides to that coin.
Yes.
But if you can just stay the course and just breathe and be okay,
And enjoy it.
yeah, yeah, be okay that you get to make those decisions. Um, and I have a coach that I know who he attributes a lot of it to the ego getting in your way. It's like the ego's afraid to get hurt. So I have a quote that I wrote down from him. Hold on, I gotta read it over the top of the
Okay.
computer. Your ego only sees what it can lose, never what you can gain.
Mm.
So we stay small because out there making yourself bigger and stepping into your power and your awesomeness. What if you fall down? Oh my God. So your ego is like trying to stop you from getting hurt.
And judgment of others.
Oh my gosh, right? There's a podcast I read and listen to so much stuff. So there's another person I listened to who said, "You're getting judged every second of every single day because humans, that's how they operate. And it's not positive or negative. It's just like, oh, she's got a red sweater on. Oh, look at her hair today. Oh, look, the sun's out." Like you're judging, 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 judging. But who cares? Right? It's does that affect you? I mean, I understand that people are worried about that because they don't want to get kicked off the island, but we don't kick people off the island anymore, right? So,
Yeah, but you know what? It's so if you are on social media, that's judgment ground. So
oh yeah,
you're opening yourselves up to a lot of scrutiny, and as a person who posts, like, so that's how I do. I market a lot on social media. You're going to have comments where people don't agree with what you're saying, and you're going to get a lot of love. And what I found is that there's a lot more love than not. And we just have to put on blinders. And I tell my clients this is that when you have a goal that you're trying to achieve, you have to put on blinders like the horses when they're running the races. And you cannot sway, because when you sway, that's the distraction. You're going to it becomes a catastrophe. And we just have to make sure that we remain diligent in what we are doing, and have a support system, because when you fall off, and you will fall off,
oh, 100%.
right, you will fall off, is having people that you can call immediately that can help you get back on.
Yeah, and it's true that social media has made it easy for people to be mean.
That's a nice way to put it.
Yeah. And, I remember because I made a game. I made a game of it that I knew that people were listening the first time I had a hater. So the first time I had a hater, I went, Yahoo! I got a hater. And I just engaged in a conversation with this person as long as they would tolerate me, like having an intelligent discourse with them. Then they just stopped talking to me because I just wanted to understand why they said that and what their point of view was. But they didn't want that. They didn't want that.
Mm.
So I try to make it a game where if someone says something negative, I'm like, okay, that means there's people listening. And I know that I internalize it as if they have said something mean or they don't agree. that has to do with whatever's going on for them, you know, positive or negative. I mean, I've had podcasts where someone has messaged me and said, "Oh, you said this. It was so great. I went and did this." I'm like, I didn't say that. But you run with it because you heard what you needed to hear.
Yes.
So if they say something negative, there's something negative. I feel like there's something negative happening with them, and that's something they need to work with. I'm
Mhm.
not maybe not the person to tell them that, but I will ask them questions about it, you know. But it's yeah, it's scary to put yourself out there because I have new coaches who are just like, everybody looks so polished and good. I'm like, are you kidding me? Are you watching my stuff?
But you know what? I was like that when I started. I was like, oh my gosh, everyone looks so polished. I did say that. But it wasn't until I started being in the room
Mm,
and when I realized that, oh, we're all having the same questions. Oh, we're all having the same issues. Oh, we all feel okay, but we're doing it anyway. We're doing it afraid.
yeah, I figure the worst. I always ask myself, what's the worst thing that'll happen? And it's not death, so I just keep going.
No, that's true. That is very true. It is not that. It will. We can keep going, and you're right. That's. But I think that's why it's good to have community.
So
That
important.
it is very important to have community um and having and just when people can just touch or are able to just and this is what I love is that when they're part of the leap community, if they have any questions or if they're like, oh my gosh, I'm about to do this, or if they're celebrating a win, we're there to cheer them on.
Right.
And that's the beauty of it, right?
And if you're not in that kind of community, like they are out there, right? Whatever
Oh yeah,
tribes, yeah.
yes. It's so many. Listen, there's no reason why you have to be alone anymore, unless you're choosing to for other reasons, right? But in general, there are communities there where you can support, and it was communities before as well, right? There people Eventbrite all the time, meet up there organizations locally that you can be a part of, and especially if you're doing community service as well, right? So they exist. It's just you have to get out there and find out one that's for you.
And if you're in one that doesn't feel like it's giving you that support, like the cheering you on or the lifting you up, then it's okay to leave that community. Like I think sometimes people feel like they're going to offend someone if they say this place isn't right for me. But why are you doing that to yourself? Just step away,
Because we've gotten reprimanded when we decided to make a choice.
right? I don't know if you know Mark Manson. Do you know Mark Manson?
Mm-mm,
Oh
mm-mm.
my gosh. So
His
I
name
had
sounds familiar.
so his book was The Subtle Art of Not Giving Up.
Okay, okay, okay.
Fill in the bleep right there.
Yes,
Although I do drop F bombs, but he likes to take that stance to like stir things. He's a shit disturber is what he is.
mhm,
And he likes to take that stance. He's like, you can do what's right for you and make decisions and not apologize.
agree.
Just don't be an asshole about the thing, So I'm sorry, people. I'm swearing, but you know me. Sometimes I do. Um, but it's
Yes,
true. Like,
yeah.
why do we feel like we have to apologize or we have to treat everybody as our best friends if they're not? It's like if your
Well, because
community
you were
doesn't.
taught to do that,
Oh yes, we were very taught.
right?
I know my P's and Q's with pleases and thank yous and yes, ma'am, and sit quietly with your hands crossed in your lap and don't make noise.
You did
Right.
not make any noise.
Do not make noise. Hmm. I think I'm trying to remember one of my father's favorite sayings. He's probably going to watch this. Was silence in the peanut gallery, something like that. Like,
What? Oh, oh. So yeah. So just everyone in peanut gallery be quiet or just be silent. Yeah,
yes, I
yeah.
want silence from the peanut gallery. Okay, but then you got a lot of kids. There's no quiet. There's no quiet. You had how many kids in your family?
It was seven of us.
7.
It was seven of us. It was seven of us. Yeah, it was. It was a lot, and it was. So my mom, she was never. The she was very sweet, very easygoing. She was not the person that disciplined us. You know, that was our grandma. Our grandma did not play.
Right.
Our grandma did not play. But my mom, she and her at home, you know, when we were at home with my mom, she allowed us to be ourselves. So it was always chaotic, always something going on. But thinking back, I can probably imagine how chaotic it was for her because she's an educator, right? So
Right.
and being a single mom, you know, my older siblings, they took up a lot of the slack in terms of making sure that we were fed, making sure that we had everything we needed, got our homework done because mom was working. So, but she did what she could, but she was not in our home. It was chaos and mayhem.
Right. And so she was an educator and she still didn't get enough hours in. Oh my gosh. Wow. That's something that people should look at before they
You
hit
know.
that.
Well, you know what I tell people now is because I had to do the research for my mom. I was like, that doesn't make any sense. And you do get letters in the mail from the Social Security Administration where they tell you to be aware of how much you've already put in, how many more credits you need. Like it's there. And I always recommend for people to go in and take a look because a lot of people don't know. And I'm like, you need to
Right.
go look at that. But I would not have known if it had not been for my mother, right? If that had not happened to her, I would have not known how much I was contributing to it. And if for whatever reason that I had a disability, they have in there what you will be getting based on what you've already put back into the system. So just need to be aware of it, and people just don't know it exists. So again, you just didn't know where to look, right? So
Right.
technology has made everything easily available, but at the same time, people don't know that it's easily available for them to be aware of.
In some ways, technology has made things easy. In some ways, it's made it overwhelming.
To the person, depending on who you are, because you don't
Yeah.
have to
Yeah.
indulge in anything, right?
Yeah.
You get to choose what you want to be a part of.
True.
Yeah.
Pick something positive.
That's my recommendation. Pick something positive, pick something fun, and just don't forget to go outside and meet people. That's the biggest thing, right? Is having conversations with people again.
In
Is
real life.
in
Does
real
your community meet in real life or are you all virtual?
No, so we eventually the goal in 2023 is for us to meet in real life.
Whoa. I've
I'm
started,
excited. It's
yeah.
exciting. Yeah.
Real life is emerging again. It's okay. We'll come out at our own rate. But yes, I started going to in real life again. We opened up in the spring. We were kind of locked down more or less until the spring.
Mhm.
And so, as soon as the live events started happening, I was like, yes, let's go see some people.
Awesome.
Yeah. And it is a different energy when you get to meet live and in person versus always on Zoom. Um,
It
Even
is.
though I love my international community of people that I'm connected to, I have a few different communities that I like to participate in depending on what hat I'm wearing. And I can't wait to meet some of them in person. Like I've tried to plan my vacations around going to meet some of these people because
I love
it's
it.
just so interesting when you meet someone in real life and you can
Mhm.
it's a different energetic exchange, right?
I love that. Yeah, it is. It is. You get to finally. I look at it and I get to see and meet you, the essence of you in person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I had one more thought on the clarity thing, actually, that I wanted to ask you. So, this was also Mark Manson, our friendly neighborhood shit disturber. Um, he told this story of when he was a kid, he had this vision that he was going to be a rock star. And he had it played out perfectly on he was going to be famous and what songs he would play and all of this stuff. But he never did it. He said, I was always going to wait till I had enough money to buy a guitar. Wait, 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 wait. And he said, what happened was he said he liked the vision of being that successful, but he didn't want to do the work to get there. So do you
Mm.
find people get stuck in that? Well, I'd like to have a multi-million-dollar company, but man, it's a lot of work to get there. Can I just sit over here at this desk and push paper for 20 years?
Yeah, well, you know what? That's a good that's a great, I'm trying to find the right word. The great, what he noticed is actually um great discernment. Because it's true, right? I think the last 2 years it appeared that it was very easy to make money.
Maybe if you just watch socials, but
That's my point, right?
yeah,
Because that's all we had, right? If you think about it, right?
yeah,
And it
true.
merged a lot of digital products and a lot of marketing, a lot of things. And people were, especially people that were like, "Hey, I'm making this," and they're flashing things. So it could appear that it was easy to make money, but when you are actually doing it, it is very disciplined. It takes a lot of work, and the reality is that not everyone is committed to what it takes
True.
for various reasons,
Hmm.
right? Various reasons, and I don't think until you have actually done something that you've never done before, you would never know what it takes to achieve. People see your glory, but they don't know the story.
Yeah.
And oftentimes when we get into a space, so here's an example, Heather. You're saying, "Oh my gosh, I coach the coaches and I've seen how amazing you are." So when I'm getting in that space, I'm like, I should be where Heather is.
Right.
But I don't know how you got there. I don't know what you had to do, the amount of work, the clients, the leads, all that stuff to get where you are today. And I don't think people often they understand that it takes time to build. And that's why it's important that when you are starting the business, I put it like this, it's not any different. My son wants to be a professional football player, right?
Cool.
And I said, "Well, who do you follow?" He's like, "Well, he didn't give me a name." I said, "How can you understand what it takes to be great when you're not following anyone great?"
Right. Yeah.
So you don't know. You are just putting in what you think it takes to get there. But until you put in the time and effort and follow what someone has done, because success leaves clues, then you will be able to put yourself and position yourself right when opportunity meets luck. Boom, we have an explosion. So he's absolutely correct. It's great that he has insight that he didn't want to do it, but I don't think a lot of people are willing to admit
Right.
that's the difference.
Yeah. I had this dream, but I not didn't want to do the work. So
They won't admit it because of pride. They
yeah.
won't admit it. And they'll blame a lot of other things. Well, I didn't have this in place, or I just didn't have enough money, or it was this. But the problem, we just weren't willing to do the work. And until you were able to admit that to yourself and be okay. You know what? I'm fine making 250K a year. I'm okay with that. I'm fine making half a million a year. But in order to make a million, we understand that it takes the same amount of time to make a million versus that it takes to make 250K. You might have to move differently and do things differently, but we understand that. But are you willing to position yourself and expose yourself to the people that you need to be in front of so that they can help you get where you need to be? Again, you got to be willing to do the work. But great insight. What's the name of his book? What's the name of his book?
The subtle art of not giving an FCK. And I get his blogs too. So yes, he likes to stir it up. Makes
I
you
like that.
think. It
I like
makes you think. Yeah.
Yes.
So you have an event coming, right?
I do. I do. So in March, it's going to be a month from now. I'm sorry. So I'm
November.
already thinking 2020.
Okay, slow down. I haven't gone through Christmas yet.
I know. So in November, I'm going to actually have a 2-day boot camp.
Ooh,
And what we're going to be focusing on is how to clearly, it's two things, clearly articulate the value that your product offers, and two, help you remove any type of limiting beliefs that stops you from articulating the pricing of the value that you offer.
that's two very powerful things. And you're going to do that in 2 days?
Yeah, it's going to
Drop and
be
give me 20.
2-day boot camp, 90 minutes a piece, but it's going to be really interactive, and we're going to have like a couple of real time where people are able to come to the virtual stage. It is going to be virtual. We're able to come in And we're going to be doing real-time exercises so that they can get real-time feedback and so that they know that they can do this and they're not doing it alone.
That's amazing.
Mhm.
So good. And we're gonna putting the link for that in the show notes so that they can get onto the wait list, because
Yes,
you're just building up the list right now, right?
absolutely. Yep.
Yes. So my friends, for sure, click the link, go and check it out, because come on, you don't want to get to a point where you go, crap, I don't get any support at the end.
Yes.
I always ask people at the last, any final words of wisdom. I know you already dropped lots of wisdom bombs, but
So here is I'm going to give a final word of story.
okay, yeah.
Okay. So here is for anyone. This is really for anyone who is struggling or having difficulty showing up as you. When I was younger, and I talked a little bit about this, growing up in a household of 7 kids, you have a tendency to for me, I had a tendency to hide. I didn't have a lot of confidence, so I would always walk with my head down so that no one would see me. And my sophomore year in high school, I was still doing the same thing, right? Walking down so no one would see me. And I remember during, I guess, classes in session, because there was no one in the halls, I was walking in the hallway, and I don't even know where I was going, but I was walking in the hallway and the hallway was empty. And as I'm walking and I make a right turn, I can, as clearly as I am saying this story, I can still visually see this to this day. I hear my feet, on the floor. That's how it's echoing, because there's no one else in the hallway, and I see a guy coming towards me. And because I don't have confidence, I didn't have a lot of feel worthy, I immediately put my head down so he wouldn't see me. And he said 3 things that changed me forever. He said, "Look up, you're not ugly." And I cannot tell you how that made me in that moment. I raised my head higher. I smiled more. I took pride in myself. I took pride in how I showed up. And that moment in time is what made me pivot into who you see today. Just that instant. Because if he had not interceded, that's how I called it. He interceded in the behavior because of limiting beliefs that I had allowed to take over my being. So for anyone, as you're watching this podcast, those moments of intercession are opportunities for you to pivot. Don't run from it. Don't hide from it. Embrace it. Surrender so that you can be your ultimate awesome self. And that way, whatever purpose and assignment that life has given you, you can now impact and be a catalyst for others so that they can give birth into who they are to be next.
Whoa. That's an awesome story. And I love it. And I like to think of those people, because those people just appear out of nowhere, as like the universe or little angels are coming down and going, she just needs a little nudge. It's like, come on. You go, oh my gosh. Yeah. So good. Thank you so much. That was so powerful. My friends, make sure you check out Uche and just go and hang out in bask in her awesomeness with her community. And of course, subscribe, like, and share, my friends, because that's what this is all about. And that's it for us. Thank you so much, Uche. Thank you. And I look forward to seeing more and hearing more about what's going on in your community. Thank you. Take care. Bye, everybody. Hi, my friend. Thanks so much for listening to this entire podcast. If you found it useful and you're like me and you like helping others, please feel free to share this. Just give it a like, give it a comment. If you found something useful in it, there's a chance that someone else will find something useful as well. Also, if you have any questions at all, I can absolutely help, and I would love to help. You can email me at heather@prosperityflowcoaching.com. If you want more of this awesome content, you can follow me on Instagram, Heather Stewart Coaching. You can follow me on Facebook, Prosperity Flow Coaching. And I have a personal request. I want to help as many people as I can with these podcasts. And if you could give me a review, hopefully a good one, if you could share, if you could send this out into the world, I would truly appreciate it. I hope you have an amazing day, and I hope that you find your way to wellness by getting back to me. Take care, my friend.